Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to remind you of a couple of ways we can work together this year. So if you're listening to this the day the episode has gone live, the doors to the sisterhood are open until the 1st of February. So the link is in the show notes to become a member. This is my manifestation and mindset community for monthly live calls, monthly masterclasses, to enhance and continue on with your personal development journey so you can manifest your dream life in 2023 with accountability with all of your goals and tons more support. And if you want to go deeper together, working together one-to-one to really unlock who you are here to be in the world, to release and clear and heal all of the shit that has been holding you back and move into a space where you are completely in alignment with your dream life, taking conscious daily action, as well as feeling like a whole new version of yourself, then one-to-one coaching is for you. This is the most intimate and high-level way to work with me to get bespoke support with your unique goals. All my clients get access to me throughout the week on WhatsApp. We dive deep into the sessions, but you can also voice note me. It really is like having me as your cheerleader in life. Many of my clients love that and love that feeling of being supported. The link is in the show notes to apply. You can book a free call in February or as soon as I'm available, and I can't wait to hear from you. Hi and welcome back to the Put Yourself First podcast. Today's topic is supporting yourself through transformation, because I wish someone had said this to me 5 years ago. I wish someone had said this to me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because it's probably been that long really since I was into personal development. And when we do personal development, when we do inner work, so much of the focus is on the end result, or where you will get to, where you will be, and not enough of the conversation happens around the in-between, like the messy middle. And often it's in the messy middle where people need the most support. So this is to say that what I want to talk about today is how to support yourself through that process of growth, of transformation, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all jumping up and down, motivational speaker, yes, I'm on top of the world. Like, there is work involved, there is healing involved, there is uncomfortable growth involved, there is change involved, and that can feel really difficult. There can be moments where that feels hard, or you just need some TLC, like you need some extra support, and I want to talk about that today. This episode is inspired by this month's theme inside of the Put Yourself First Sisterhood, which is my mindset and manifestation community full of incredible, ambitious women helping you to manifest a life even better than your vision board for less than £1.50 a day currently, just £40 a month. So check that out. This week when you hear this, we'll have already had our incredible monthly sister circle, which is our monthly live call where I'll guide the girls through some sort of tool, technique, exercise to really dig deep into the theme of the month. This month's theme is rebirth and evolution, hence what I'm talking about today. And last week we did a really powerful identity mapping exercise together, and you can get the instant replay of that, plus this month's masterclass where I'm digging even more into the topic of rebirth, how to spot the signs of your own rebirth with a really gorgeous ritual. If you are in a transitional phase right now, if you're in the messy middle, there's so many resources to support you in the sisterhood, not just with this topic, but with, at this point, dozens and dozens of other topics, from procrastination through to money mindset, through to relationships, healthy, body image and confidence. We've covered so many things. So check it out. The link is in the show notes. Now, transformation and the messy middle. Oh, like I said, I wish someone had said this to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The first thing I want to say, when it comes to growth and transformation, if right now you feel uncomfortable, like you don't recognize yourself, like you are just changing, or something external to you is changing, maybe you're going through a big change in your life, something may have happened that's outside of your control that is changing. What I want to remind you of is the cyclical nature of being human. And I feel there's a big issue in our Western society around how little respect and honour we give to being cyclical and seasonal. Because if you think about the themes of the seasons, spring being everything is new, everything is being planted, everything is sprouting and growing, and it's like that excited anticipation energy. And how that might look in your own world is, things are beginning to change and happen in a positive way. Your work is beginning to pay off. Things are growing, things are blooming. Summer is the energy of really thriving in that. Everything is at its brightest, fullest expression. The things that you've worked on have been birthed. The sun is hot, like your energy is higher. The energy all around you is just vibrating at this different frequency. We all know that in summer you just naturally feel amazing. I know that my mood in summer is just different. My energy is different. Things flow, things feel easy. I stress less, I sleep better, all of these different things. And of course, everyone has their own unique experience. But if we're looking at this from a symbolic and representational perspective, spring is things are coming into fruition, things are blooming. Summer is reaping, and enjoying all of those things. Things are in their fullest growth, like it's happened, it's here, it's you're living your best life. And then we get into autumn, which is more about beginning to reap what you sow, harvest everything, maybe integrating the lessons that you've learned or the growth that you've been through, taking time to step back and reflect. But again, as we get into autumn, we also get into a different energy, don't we? A different energy of resting, of taking time out, of recuperating. And we don't like doing that in society. We don't like to take a step back and integrate and reflect on what we've learned or where we've been or how far we've come. And then we get into winter, and the winter season is all about death and rebirth. It's like the the leaves are dead. They've fallen off the tree in autumn. It's, the autumn is like the shedding of the skin, if you will, getting ready for what is to ultimately come in the next cycle, in the next season. But things get muddy and dark and like unpleasant for a while, don't they? It's wet, it's cold, it's dark, and nothing is happening. And in that winter season, nothing is happening on the surface, yet everything is happening underneath the surface. And it's the same in your growth. When you're going through the messy middle of your growth, of your transformation, you are that fertile soil, even if you have not yet bloomed this gorgeous, huge rose bush, or something that externally you can look at and go, yes, I've done that, tick. So much is happening under the surface that is in preparation for the next cycle. And so often things need to die off, things need to be released and let go of and healed in order to create space for what's coming next to flourish. And yet in society we do not embrace this natural way of being that we have as humans. When you think about it, we are nature, we are natural animals. And yet modern society and capitalist society would have us existing 24/7 in summer, in spring, summer, in the shinier months where the energy is up here, where things are happening on the external, change is happening in a positive way. We're getting what we want. We're growing, like there's the forward momentum is there. And we're actively discouraged from taking a step back to essentially embrace what feels uncomfortable. Rest, reflection, evolution, allowing things to change. Because if we want the end result of the transformation of the flower, we need to nurture the opposite side of that, which is the regrowth and the rebirth of the conditions in which the flower can grow and thrive. So if you feel like things are dark right now, if you feel like things aren't happening for you, or if what you are going through and growing through right now doesn't feel fun and shiny and motivational and amazing, and yay, I'm on Instagram like talking about how perfect my life is, that's okay. It's okay to be going through something that objectively is difficult, such as a change you might be making in your life, such as, achieving a personal goal and the journey it takes to get there, such as battling with years and years of conditioning, of limiting beliefs, of cultural norms that no longer serve you, and yet they are deeply embedded into you. It's okay if doing the work to release that, to heal that, to grow in those areas. It's okay if you're not feeling amazing 100% of the time. And it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, and it doesn't mean that greatness is not on the other side of that for you, because everything is a cycle, everything is a season. And it's so funny how the season you're in always feels like it's never ending. It's the 11th of Jan when I'm recording this. This will be going out a bit later, but we are deep in winter right now in the UK. And my skin cannot, like, I have to work really hard to feel the memory of heat on my skin. And it gets to this point in January, I know for me, like towards the end of January, where the rain and the dark and the cold, it just feels so long, and I am so ready for spring. And that is the same experience that I have every single year. Yet spring always comes. You know, summer always comes. And same with summer. You know, sometimes summer, it feels like it can go by in a flash. And then suddenly it's getting colder again. But often the season you don't like as much is the season that feels so long. And it's interesting how every time we experience that, we're like, this is never ending. And yet it always is ending because it's a season. And that is such a lesson for your growth, for your life. If you were going through a season of challenge, of rebirth, of evolution right now, things are being shed, things are preparing you for what is coming. You know from your life so far that you've been through many, many cycles of those same seasons. And we all need that reminder when we're looking outside and thinking, will it ever stop raining? Will, like, I ever feel the heat of the sun on my skin again? And, you know, take that as a metaphor, right? Will I ever, you know, I know I've had moments where I'm like, how can I get back? Or when will I get back to feeling like I'm thriving? Because right now I'm on the struggle bus. And I always do. And you always do. And you will. So I wanted to finish with a couple of things that are so important to support yourself through this messy middle of your growth, of your transformation. The first thing is not going to be the easiest piece of advice to hear, especially if you have your own coping mechanisms through this, especially if you have resistance to what you are ultimately growing in, you know, the area that you are currently struggling with. But the advice is, numbing is the ultimate resistance, and the more you numb it, the more you hide from it, the more you ignore it, the longer it feels. You prolong this period by resisting it, and the ultimate way to resist it is to try and pretend that it's not happening, or to ignore or invalidate your feelings and your experience. And how that shows up for most people is numbing and coping behaviours. So many people, and I know this from experience as well, many people numb the emotions that they're experiencing in their winter phase of life, where things are darker, you know, things are being brought to the surface to be healed or to be released. Instead of allowing themselves, giving themselves the grace to go through that by really advocating for their own well-being, their mental health, their self-care, getting the support they need, what many people do, unfortunately, is they lean on numbing behaviours, like, and everyone has their own way of doing this, of achieving this. I know mine has certainly been food in the past. Other people's is alcohol or shopping or social media or reality TV or, like going out every weekend. The behaviours that go beyond just letting your hair down and ultimately become a way to avoid the very human experience that you're having right now, and avoid facing what you're going through, or avoid really allowing yourself to fully feel and heal. Fully feel it to heal it. So many people just push it down, push it down, push it down. And then end up, unfortunately, getting into the same patterns where for a while they might feel better. Because if you're using like numbing and coping behaviours, you're gonna feel better. That's why that's what they're for, It's like I love people who are recovering addicts who talk about this really candidly. They're like, yeah, like being an alcoholic, like it sometimes feels really good, because not feeling your feelings can feel really good when your feelings feel really difficult to experience. But what you're doing, if you're continuing to use numbing behaviours consistently without doing the deeper healing, is you are just, it's like getting a piece of, what's that stuff, like blue tack or something, and just stretching out that period. It's prolonging what you're going through. And in my experience, when I lean into it, when I allow it, when I give myself the grace to be like, yeah, you know what, Kat, you're in a winter season right now. Things feel really difficult. You've got a lot of shadow work coming up. Things are being brought up to the surface to be healed. Maybe energy is lower, or mindset isn't as positive. You're okay. Like, you're gonna be okay. And use your coaching tools. Take this into therapy. Do your weekly breath work. Do the things that are going to help you through it, rather than sabotaging what is ultimately going to happen one way or another by numbing it, by pushing it down, by hiding from it. Numbing is such a sabotaging behaviour, and it's not to say that you can't have a human moment, because I know that when I'm going through these periods, I have to consciously have days or have weekends where I go, I'm not going to think about that right now. I was talking to a friend about this who had a break from therapy for a short period of time because she was going through something in her life and she didn't want to feel like shit. She didn't want to feel her feelings around what she was going through, what she was working through in therapy, because she wanted to enjoy what she was going through. She wanted to be present in life. And it's okay if you're like, you know what, this weekend I need a break from this. And for me, that is consciously choosing to not think about this and not feel this and put it aside for now. That can be a really helpful skill and strategy in moderation. It's when it becomes the default coping behaviour that we need to dig a little deeper. So that's the first thing. That's what to stop doing. What to begin doing is more integration and more support. And I talk to this more specifically in the rebirth masterclass inside the sisterhood. And there's a really gorgeous ritual to support yourself through this. But integration is everything when it comes to the messy middle and going through it. Because often what is happening is a pattern or something is coming up to be acknowledged, to be worked through. And that might be a very obvious external thing that has happened. So, like, someone close to you has died. That is a very obvious thing that has happened to you that you have no control over, that you could not have predicted. And that is the thing that is coming up, that is physically happening in your reality for you to now support yourself through and be with yourself in, and heal and really nurture yourself through. But what can also happen is an internal thing can come up. So a really old strategy is coming up because you are finally ready to cut the BS and stop doing this thing. Maybe a behaviour that you've leaned on for years. I know for me, really old people pleasing comes to mind. It used to be a helpful strategy for me to be a people pleaser until it wasn't. Until I ended up in one of these phases of the messy middle where shit was hitting the fan in my business because of my old codependency, people pleasing, taking people's shit, not having strong boundaries. And that period that felt like shit was happening so that I could finally release that. And that was like that dark soil underground in winter. It was cold, it was dark, it was uncomfortable, it was painful, it was upsetting. Like my example, looking out the window and being like, will it ever be sunny again? It's like, it can feel all consuming sometimes, but what's coming is going. What's coming up is to be released. And getting the right support for yourself is everything, as is really truly integrating the lessons and the growth that is happening through that period. Because just as the winter soil is fertile and is creating space and preparing for the new flower to bloom, the lessons that you learn in this season are what is preparing you for your next level. And that is the shit that gets me excited, because what can we focus on during these periods if not what we are learning, how we are growing as a person, how that's going to benefit the rest of our life, who we're becoming, how that impacts the work we do or the people in our life. Becoming more of who you're here to be, learning powerful lessons, releasing things that no longer serve you. These are all things that we know are of massive benefit to us, and that is what this period is all about. So if I can give you anything, if you take away one perspective from this episode, it's, even if right now things are dark and you're like, when is it gonna change? Like, when am I When is my business finally going to take off? When am I going to find my person? Dating is shit and I hate it. When am I going to, be happy again after going through a toxic relationship or a divorce? When is my health going to improve? Like, I'm, battling with health struggles right now. When is whatever you're going through, you're thinking and you're feeling like you're going to be in it forever, and you're not. And what you can focus on right now is how this experience, what it's going to teach you, and how it's going to initiate you into the next stage of your life, and the blessings and the gifts and the joy and the abundance that is on the other side of your next spring summer season. If I could leave you with anything, it would be keep going and make sure that you have the right support around you. So whatever that needs to look like for you, make it happen. And of course, I'm biased, but often coaching is such valuable support, and I often find that women find me at the right time, and it's usually during a time of their life where things are changing for them and they need some support to really grow through that period to get out the other side. So I hope this inspired you, activated something within you, or just simply gave you permission to be where you are. Things will change, things will get better, and you are growing and learning so much, whatever you are going through right now. Check out the Sisterhood for more resources on this topic specifically, as well as dozens of others. I'll link it in the show notes or down below on YouTube. And I'm sending you so much love if you resonate with this today. Sending you love, sending you strength, sending you good vibes. You have got this. And I'll speak to you soon. Mwah.